So I went to a movie premiere last night. Not really my jam. Not a big fan of it. Don't like it. All that Hollywood stuff. But I went to watch Air Movie, and I highly recommend it. It's a story about the early days of Nike and Phil Knight and a basketball savant, Sonny Vaccaro, who I know. He was around UNLV when I worked in Las Vegas with Jerry Tarkanian. And Sonny's quite a character. And the young Michael Jordan story and his family. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon do just terrific work. And people go back and forth, the who's better, Michael or LeBron. They're both the best at what they did of all time. Kobe Bryant's the second best Michael Jordan ever. And I think Magic's the second best LeBron ever. So LeBron and Michael are the two best basketball players I've ever seen. But I will say this. Michael Jordan's more interesting than LeBron James. That 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan, fascinating. The movie last night, fascinating. And I believe the reason is athletes today, they give too much of themselves. They've got brands. I know where they stand on vaccines and politics. I know their family, what they eat, where they travel, what they fly. I didn't with Michael Jordan. I didn't know much about his mom. I didn't know much about his father before he was killed. I didn't know that much about Michael Jordan. You don't have to show me what you're eating for lunch on Twitter. You really don't. Mystery is powerful. And that's why as we keep peeling back layers and layers and layers of Michael Jordan, they're all interesting. Even as an owner, he was private. The Wizards, is there any footage of that? Michael Jordan kept to himself in his hotel room, smoking a cigar, taking a nap, watching TV. He didn't want to be bothered. Michael was insanely private, and it makes him fascinating now. Many of the great actors of all time, like Marlon Brando, was fascinating. James Dean, we didn't know that much about him. Now I know everything about every actor. Mystery is a powerful thing. There's a moment in the movie, and I think it's true, Sonny Vaccaro is in a hotel room, and he's just a classic American basketball figure who for years and years thought the kids were getting robbed, and he's part of really the reform of college sports in America. Sonny Vaccaro is a huge part of it, that players now get paid, and he thought players should have been paid. And there's a great moment when he takes that winning national championship shot, the North Carolina game, right, for the national championship, and he breaks down the play and why he watches that play by himself in his hotel room and what that play signifies. It is a fascinating breakdown. I hope it's true that Sonny Vaccaro pitched to a young Phil Knight. And again, this is the movie business. Affleck and Damon are brilliant, brilliant movie makers. But I found it really fascinating. And I thought my takeaway on this, once again, we find the mom was the strength of a family, just like across America. Michael Jordan's mother was the backbone of that family, and she leaned heavily on her instinct about her son, and Michael leaned heavily on her. But I also thought it spoke well of Michael's decision-making. The stronger sense of self any of us have, it's much easier to choose people to support you. If you don't know who you are, how the hell do you know who to hire to elevate you? Michael had an incredible sense of self, and that's why he chose so brilliantly. Dean Smith was perfect for him. Phil Knight, Sonny Vaccaro, David Falk, his agent. He leaned heavy into David Stern. I see so many athletes with bad, sneaky agents, bad friends. They support the wrong teammates. LeBron's got this quality too. Michael chose really, really smart people to run his business. Some of that is, I think, the guidance of his mom, who had such a key part in the foundation of who Michael is. Another strong American mom behind the scenes of a superstar. That's part of it. But Michael chose really wisely. And I've said this, and it comes across as a criticism, but it's not. Michael was always great at elevating Michael. He wasn't always the best. That's why he struggled with ownership or struggled being an executive. That's about elevating others. Michael had a sense of who he was and what he needed to elevate him. And that's why he's the richest basketball player ever, with the greatest brand ever, the greatest career ever, and arguably probably the greatest player ever. He had a powerful sense of self and passed on by his mom, who had a great sense of herself and her son. Highly recommend it. Fascinating watch. There's so many athletes out there. They make bad choices. Michael made great ones. And you should just watch it. There's these moments throughout the course of Michael's career with his mom and Michael and Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight. One of the best books I've ever read was the book. I think Walter Isaacson wrote the book about Steve Jobs. And it's the best book I think I've ever read, business book, because it was really 4 books in one. You learned about tech. You learned about Bill Gates. You learned about the rivalry. You learned about Apple. I learned so much reading that book, just about technology in general. When you watch this movie, you're going to learn a lot about Nike and business and Sonny Vaccaro and a great family and Michael's drive and how Nike eventually bought its competitor Converse. You're going to learn so much in 90 minutes. Just tip of the cap to Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and all those who took part. I thought it was fantastic last night. Multiple times the crowd was cheering. Really a heartfelt movie. Mario Chalmers, who played with LeBron, I think Mario Chalmers drove LeBron crazy in Miami every time they were on the floor together. Chalmers is talking about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and nobody feared LeBron. Yeah, a lot of people feared Tyson. Muhammad Ali was the better fighter. A lot of people feared George Foreman. Lennox Lewis was the better fighter. Fear's overrated. The truth is, LeBron James played in this era, with less animosity because everybody's eating. Everybody's getting rich. The Pistons used to tackle you. Michael Jordan had to build up calluses to get past the Celtics who tackled him and past the Pistons who tackled him. It was a different era. This level of basketball, this era of basketball is much more skilled. The NBA has outlawed the tackling, has outlawed the hand check, has outlawed the forearm and the back of players. That's not LeBron's fault. Everybody now is rich in the NBA. Mid-level players are rich. The richer you get, what did Marvin Hagler say? Hard to get up to run at 6 a.m. when you're sleeping in silk sheets. Everybody's rich. The physicality has been outlawed because people freaked out about the malice in the palace, so they got rid of a lot of physicality and intensity. The league was much more cutthroat. Michael Jordan, McHale, Bird, Magic, they were all fighting for tiny slices of the pie. Guys make now more on their Instagram than stars made, Magic Johnson made in his prime as a player. Back in Michael Jordan's era, Charles Barkley, Dr. J, Larry Bird, star players got into fistfights. Like stars, not reserves, not kooky, crazy guys, like stars. You don't see Kevin Durant and LeBron James in that nonsense. Devin Booker's not involved in that stuff. Go watch the 30 for 30 outstanding by ESPN on the Lakers Celtics. There's animosity. I mean, if you lost a series, you didn't get the shoe deal. You didn't get the love. You didn't get the endorsements. Average players now get rich. Everybody eats. And so Michael Jordan, to his credit, had to build up those calluses and that metal to overcome the Celtics, overcome the hand check, overcome the tackling, overcome Pat Riley's Knicks. And that's what he had to build up, just like our dads, our grandpas. It was a different world now. It's easy. It's much easier now. The other day I was online and I'm looking at something, and Twitter now gets so many ads on Twitter, and it's like there's like 7 new private jet companies. Not even expensive as much anymore as it used to be. And you're like, it used to be like private was the Rockefellers and the richest people in the world. They got regional private jet companies. It's a different world. Travel's easier. Medicine's easier. They can come to your home. Concierge medicine. Thank God. Basketball's more skilled. There's less tackling, less hand checking, less intensity. And Michael, that's what you had to do to survive the Pistons and the Celtics. You had to be more physical. And Michael leaned in to that physicality. He leaned into that toughness. LeBron doesn't have to at all and still dominates. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.